Good morning and welcome to another episode of Alberta Prepper. I want to thank you all for joining me today. I hope that if you like it, that you will give me a like, subscribe, and pass on this video to your friends and family. I am glad that I get to tell these stories. I tell these stories and other videos for my kids who are young and growing up, and I've been really wanting to tell them these stories, but they're not interested in it at this time. And unlike my mom and dad's time, I have the ability to actually tell this story and put it in a form that can last for a long time. My parents didn't give me all their stories, which is disappointing because now they're gone, and I really want to hear these stories. I really want to know what they did and how it went for their lives. And now that I'm older and I have my own kids, I wanted to impart to them these stories, but I also wanted to put it in a format that others can hear the stories. Now, as I did with the one before this one, I'm going to tell you a little story about my life before grade 2 in the preschool. We lived in a different part of Calgary before my grade 2 one, and this one was up in the northeast, and it was in row houses. Uh, Basically, not the wealthiest part of the town, but certainly not the poorest part. So it was lower middle class, and I had lots of friends in the complex, and we would spend our days playing outside in the nice weather when it was nice in the summertime. These are the stories that I'm going to talk about, is the summer one. And we would go out and we'd have milk milk in a bag that you'd put into a jug and you'd pour it out that way. And you'd have things like Kool-Aid that mom would make every day, a nice fresh pitcher that all the kids in the neighborhood come and we'd all drink Kool-Aid, or we'd go to other people's houses and drink lemonade and all this and that. And I was an adventurous kid, a mischievous kid, a kid who liked to test his limits and test the limits of other things. My friend and I, at the time, who was around 4 or 5, um, he and I were really good friends. We didn't go to the same preschool. He went to a different one than I did. But when we got home, we would all play together in the complex. And it was so much fun. I remember the days of just running around the complex, running out into the field that was behind the complex, and getting lost in the field and down the streams and all this and that that went through the area. And then we'd come home and we'd have again Kool-Aid, some snacks, tell our parents about our little adventures, and then we'd go back out. Now, one of the things that my friend enjoyed doing was challenging me to take risks. And he knew that if he gave me a dare, more than likely I would take it because I was willing to try anything at least once. And if I liked it, I'd keep doing it. One challenge he gave was he had a dog, and they had fed the dog, but the dog wasn't interested in eating the food. And he came over and said to me, he goes, "Hey, look, my dog didn't want his food. I wonder what's wrong with it." And I'm like, "I don't know. Maybe it's no good." He goes, "Maybe we should try it and see what it is." So we both took a handful and ate the dog food. Now people are going to go, "Wow, ooh, where were your parents?" Well, back then in the early mid to early 70s, parents really didn't worry about their kids because there is no danger. even to this day, there's really no real danger. It's more of media hype than actual dangers. But that being said, that doesn't mean that you leave your kids to their own vices, as you will soon find out. So my mom liked to take her baths during the time that myself and my friends were out playing in the backyard and playing all around the neighborhood, because it was her chance to get away and actually do things, either the laundry or take a bath or read or whatever, because she was a stay-at-home mom for that time when I was going up into preschool. She did do real estate. She sold real estate at the time, but it was more of a part-time job, as in she would sell homes that my aunt and uncle would build and put up on the market, and she would be their sales lady. And they did that for years, and my mom did quite well, and so did they in the building business, because they built custom luxury homes at the time. And during this one of our many excursions, we came upon a nest. We thought it was a bee's nest, but really it was probably a yellow jacket or wasp nest. And we saw them going in and out of this little hole and stuff. And I said to my friend, because a year before my dad had smoked out, we had lived in a different place, and my dad had smoked out um, a bee's nest out of the tree by using um, fire and smoke. And the bees left, and he was able to remove the bee's nest, and everything was good and stuff like that. I, on the other hand, was a young kid who didn't understand how that actually worked, or why it worked, and how long it would actually take, and what you should and shouldn't do. Well, at the time, we used to throw dirt clumps at the ground, at concrete walls, stuff like that, and they would kind of like explode, and little puffs of smoke would come up. And I said to my friend, "Oh, we can smoke them out using these dirt clumps." So we started hucking dirt clumps at this wasp nest, and for the first little while, the wasps didn't pay any attention. They could care less. It probably irritated them, but truthfully, they would probably assume that they were in no danger, until we must have got a lucky hit, because all of a sudden they lost their minds and came out. They emptied their entire colony out into the air and after us. And we went running, and we ran like the wind. And of course, I ran home with these wasps following me in. Well, my mom, because she was taking a bath, would lock the doors so that no strangers would come in while she was taking a bath. And I was coming in hot and opened the storm door, slammed into our exterior door that was locked. And the wasps were now stinging me dozens and dozens of times. I was small enough then that I literally closed the storm door onto myself, locking it, where I was between the main door and the storm door, stuck in there, skinny as anything, trying to keep these wasps from coming. And the storm door was just covered with wasps trying to get in to sting me. But there were enough in there that had gotten into with me between the door and the screen door that I was getting stung quite a lot. I was stung all over the legs, arms, face, body. My mom finally heard me screaming and crying, and she came down, opened the door, and goes, "What's going on?" And of course, she starts getting stung. She gets rid of the last few remaining wasps, finally died off after she killed him. And she got me upstairs and started putting calamine lotion on me and checking out all the stings, making sure that I was doing okay. She had a large first aid kit that had anything and everything that you could ever think of. It didn't matter what it was, she was prepared for that kind of thing. And it was good that she was prepared, because who knew what was going to happen? She had a young son who obviously didn't have much sense, who got into trouble with stupid things. So having that first aid kit was her defense, her preparation to make sure that her son would survive his stupidity until he got old enough to stop having stupidity. I learned quickly that day not to bother the bees and the wasps, but I also gained something else. I became allergic to their stings. So now when I even get one sting, I swell up like a balloon in that area. And I mean big swells. But it's a reminder of stupidity when you were young. Now, do I think my kids who are now older are going to do something so stupid? No. I know my kids are much smarter than that, and they weren't as crazy as I am. But I wanted to know that sometimes the worst days of your life can be some of the best days of your memories. Days that you remember the most and truly look back, smile, and go, I survived that. I ain't doing that no more. Hope you enjoyed the story. And I hope that you all have a wonderful day. Alberta Prepper out.